It was 2 weeks before Christmas, and he had just received a cancer diagnosis. Stage 4 cancer. This explained his increasingly erratic bowel movements and even his shortness of breath. His prognosis wasn't good. The doc gave him maybe 5 years at best. He figured he'd try to make the best of it. Life had rarely gone as expected. His career, once considered recession-proof, had ended 10 years earlier. His personal life was also a mess. Years of hard drinking meant he was either antisocial or overly social. He had quit drinking 6 months ago, just about the time his health started getting weird. At first, he figured the constant trips to the dunny were just part of his body detoxing. He never guessed it was cancer. His doctor had been advising a colonoscopy for years, but he always avoided it. Like most guys, he just didn't like the idea of somebody sticking anything up his backside. Oh, if only we'd been able to catch this sooner, his doctor said. The doctor laid out various treatment plans, none of them cheap, and none particularly appealing. Chemo, radiation, a colostomy bag. Yeah, bald, pale, and sickly, complete with a shit bag. That'd make him a real catch. He tried to put all of this out of his head, for now. In this moment, as was often the case, his mind turned to her. Where is she now? Is she okay? Is she alive? Dead? Hell, in jail? He just didn't know. She was always the one person he felt normal around. Although they came from different worlds, they shared a similar sense of humor and often had long, deep discussions about life, philosophy, and even art. Their friendship was deep. At least he felt that way. Yeah, they had crossed the line into a physical relationship a few times. It should have been perfect. But questionable decisions were another thing they shared. His chronic need for attention and stability was deep-rooted. A particularly shitty childhood assured that. She had been a teenage runaway. An older guy talked her into it when she was 14 or 15. That guy was a typical creep. He had figured out how to rope her in, and he kept a tight bind on her for years. It took her 20 years and a couple trips to jail to finally break free. Anytime she'd been in a jam, she knew who she could turn to. He was always there for her, even if they lived 500 miles from each other. Whatever it was, they had a connection. Their few physical encounters had been nothing short of magic, but he had a habit of finding himself in other relationships closer to home. His innate fear of leaving the only life he'd ever known, maybe that's what held everything back. Who knows? They had been orbiting each other for nearly 20 years. Close, distant, tangled, never quite finished. Phone calls, texts, emails, social media. At one point, she ventured into some online modeling, and he was, without a doubt, her number one fan. But a year or so ago, she became distant. She took a new job, got a place of her own in a different town, still 500 miles away. made new friends, and was adjusting to her new life, apparently without him. Sometimes that's just life. He missed her in a way that surprised him. A hollow ache that didn't dull the time. He kept trying to text or call, but the text wasn't answered, and the voicemails too. At one point, a brief text, just living my life, spending time with friends. At least it sounded like she was okay. That would have to be good enough for him. As goofy as it sounds, just a quick text, knowing she was alive and well, was enough to make him smile, to feel something. The emptiness without her was maddening. When his health started to go south, he kept trying to reach out to her. Nothing. He was prone to worrying simply because he cared. He knew that there was someone out there who wanted nothing more than to control her. He knew that wasn't just wrong. It was fucked up. He had always been protective of her, no matter what anyone else thought or said. Now, he sat on his couch, the cold wind blowing outside, half a foot of fresh snow on the ground, staring at a half-empty bottle of wine. At this point, what could it hurt? His clock was already ticking. The countdown had begun. A little wine never killed anyone. He just didn't feel like getting up from his comfy spot to go get it. So, like most people do, all too often, he reached for his phone. He scrolled his social media for a while, then checked his email. And there it was. An email from her. He hurriedly responded, trying to come across as cheery and positive as he could muster. He clicked send with a smile on his face. Would she respond? And if so, when? She replied within a few minutes. Hearing from her, although possibly not her intention, brought him waves of joy. She was alive, and from the sounds of it, doing well. The emails turned into texts, which led to a video call. He hadn't seen her face to face in 3 or 4 years, but there she was, as beautiful as ever. The bottle stayed where it was. They had a good conversation, nearly an hour long. Neither really liked talking on the phone much, but this was better than nothing for both of them. He made her smile in a way he hadn't seen in a long time. It felt good. The next day, more texts. He didn't want to be intrusive. He tried to keep his excitement under control, and that was no easy feat. He was pretty sure, or at least hoped, she knew how he felt. In a space of less than 48 hours, she had taken his darkest moment and turned it into a ray of hope. An Alberta clipper was kicking in. The temperature outside kept falling, but he sat there smiling, phone warm in his hand, knowing that for now, for this moment, he wasn't alone.